Hey, good afternoon out there, mental health warriors. Welcome to another episode of Real Talk with Clifford Bauman. Glad you guys are able to join in. Sorry that we're starting a little bit early today. However, life events has meant that I had to start early. So sorry about the little early, but you can always go back with any podcast or radio show and watch us anytime at your convenience. So with that, I want to say thank you for the ones that are tuning in and signing in. Let me bring it up on my um Chris, did you run it on my Facebook page? I don't see it. There it is. Okay. It's not coming up yet. I don't know why. That's weird. Anyway, oh, there it is. Now I find it. Okay, we're good. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Hey, listen up, everybody. We need all of you, all of the listeners and followers to please go out to veteranstrashtalk.com. Please like and subscribe and follow all of our podcasts, all of our things that we do. You can go to veteranstrashtalk.com. You can order all of our merchandise. Of course, it's Thursday, so I'm wearing my Quit Being a Triggered Pansy shirt, which is very popular when I wear it out on the outside. But also I have the Mental Health Warrior t-shirt with the very famous 69 Mustang on there. That also has the text number on the back, because you never know who's in issues or having crisis or problems. And a lot of people don't know about texting the 74174 number. And literally anybody can text that number and get help that you need and talk to a certified counselor. Along with, if you are suicidal, you can dial 988 now. And so it's very important to remember those numbers, as we go through. So today, I'm going to continue talking about mental pain, but also I'm going to bring into a little side friend of mental pain called shame. And I'm going to get into that a little bit. That kind of came to me today while I was thinking about, what to talk about with the show today. But one of the things I did a rant on yesterday or last week, if you watched the podcast last week, was I was talking about, masculinity and feminism and all that. And really, why does it always have to be us versus them, right? Because there's nothing wrong with learning new skills and understanding new skills, whatever those skills are, whether you're male and female, to have those skills. And I think it's very important. And so the more you learn, the more you educate yourself with whatever it is that you're interested and able to do. I think it's always value added, whether you're in a relationship or not. But one thing I wanted to talk about, and I was on LinkedIn earlier, and of course the developers of EarKick had brought up for an award, and the lady who developed EarKick had a statement out there, and she was talking about the importance of really, and I've talked about this, right? So with the new year, of starting things out small, not trying to do big changes. And that's going to be kind of my rant here before I jump into the show. Is, when the new year comes around, we all want to try to make those really big changes in our life, and with New Year's resolutions, which, oh, by the way, I don't believe in, because I think if you set your bar too high and you don't accomplish that, you set yourself up for failure, and then that in itself can lead to depression or other things. So I always tell people, and I've said this on the show many times, start off small. What is it that I can do today that maybe I didn't do yesterday to make my situation a little bit better? And I've talked about the issues that I've had with anxiety and stuff like that. And so one of the things that I started doing since the first of the year, actually before the first of the year, is I used to have a drink or two at night. Now I'm here alone with my 8-year-old, and I wouldn't have a drink till he went to bed. So one of the things I started doing and stopped doing and have not done for the last month is I don't drink at night no more. And mainly, not that I won't drink socially, that's not what I'm talking about. Mainly I stopped doing it was because I was drinking alone. And, if you watched my other episodes, that with my suicide attempt, I was drinking alone that night, and I've drank alone more so than I have around or with other people. So that was one small thing that I could do that really has made a big change in my life, because what I noticed is I'm sleeping better at night. I have more energy the next day. But also it helped me lose weight. He's like, well, why the hell not drinking and not help you lose weight? Well, for me, when I was drinking, I would want to have snacks. And so the easiest way for me to cut out having snacks was to stop drinking. And so I stopped that. Now, that may not be for everybody, but that's a small change that I've made in my life, that's really had a bigger effect on the other end that I wasn't suspecting. Um, and I always talk about trying new things, right? And so it's always important to not stay in your rut and to try new things. And so I tried something new today, and I should have bought the name of her company. I think it's Shades of something. If I get that wrong, Melissa, I truly apologize, and I'll get the name right earlier. But she just opened up a hair removal studio a couple of doors down from where I live. And so I don't know why it is. If everybody doesn't think God has a sense of humor, he obviously does, because after you reach a certain age, and this is for the men out there and some women too, I'm sure, hair starts growing out of places that's never freaking grown there before. And I don't understand that. So for the first time, I went down and had my back waxed. I know that's probably TMI for a lot of people. Never had that experience before. It was something that was embarrassing to me. I wouldn't take my shirt off, even though I'm in very good shape. I wouldn't take my shirt off because that embarrassed me. But I never thought about going and having that done. But since I know my neighbor and the kids play together, I went and saw her today, and that was a very interesting experience, because my experience with waxing, and if you remember the 40-year-old virgin, when he goes in and he gets waxed, and they rip the hair off his chest and his nipple, and then he leaves and he's bleeding. He has the bloody happy face on his shirt walking down the street. If you haven't watched that, that's 40-year virgin. That was pretty funny. So in my mind, that's what I was thinking. And so I'm laying there, and she's putting the hot wax on. And she says, "Oh, is it hot enough?" And it's not the same wax they used in the movie. Obviously, it's different. And she's like, "Does it feel okay?" I was like, "Yeah, it feel like the hot stones when you go get a massage and they put the hot stones on you. That's kind of what it felt like." And then she ripped it off the first time. And then after she'd done it a couple of times, I asked her, I said, "So is my back bleeding?" Because I wore a white shirt. And she's like, "Good Lord, no. What do you think I am?" And so she gave me a hard time about that. So Cliff Bauman today is on record on his podcast that he went and got his back waxed. So it's as smooth as a baby's butt and as red as one is right now. But I was assured that will go away after a day or two, and I'm sure it will. So there you go. My mental health warriors, Cliff Bauman went out and got his back waxed today. So I tried something new, and it wasn't as bad experience as I had on 40-year-old virgin. So it was great and fun. And it's exciting. I tried yoga, a while back this summer, and I've talked about that. I do go to yoga religiously on Mondays and Fridays. If you've never, or Monday and Friday, not Monday through Friday, because Mondays I go to yoga. Tuesdays is I lift weights and run. Wednesdays is generally a day off. Thursdays weights and run. Fridays yoga again. Saturday I will normally do some type of cardio on Saturday and Sunday. So I basically work out 6 days a week because I need mental health. That's why I'm here doing the Mental Health Warrior. No, but for me, exercise is my way of decompressing, my way of keeping my mental health strong. I think it's important to keep your body strong along with your mind and your spiritual faith and whatever you believe in. So I think that's all important. So, hey, guys out there, if you have a hairy back like I did, I don't have one anymore, and you want to go and get that experience of getting your back waxed, now you know what your wife or girlfriend goes through when she goes and gets certain areas of her body waxed. Say that again. Oh, that's okay. So sorry about that. Chris was saying something to me. I didn't quite hear what he said, but so that's a lot of fun. So if you watch my last couple of podcasts, and I'm going to jump in this real quick, is, I really been talking about mental pain, and because I think it's important. And the reason I talk about it so much is because I think it's a conversation that hasn't been said or hasn't been had for a long time. Because when you have PTSD or mental health issues or depression issues or anxiety or anything like that, that mental pain that it causes you can be debilitating. And everybody who's been through that knows what I talk about. And, it's hard. Or when you have, like with me, with my TBI injury, and the TBI led into, having ADHD based on that injury, not understanding that or what I was going through prior to getting that diagnosis, I didn't understand. And that caused a lot of issues and problems with me, both in my life, personally and professionally, I'm sure. Not understanding why I did things a certain way or not do things a certain way, or why things bother me or didn't bother me, or why I couldn't complete that, or I could overly complete that, or, why all of a sudden I'm doing one thing, but then halfway switch to something else, and then something else, then something else. So, everybody out there who's knows what I'm talking about understands that. But, when you have PTSD, mental health issues, depression, anxiety, or all those things combined, um, that mental pain is tough and it's hard. And it can get to the point where it is absolutely destroying your life. And then you do things to compensate for that pain, right? I started drinking more and drink way more than I ever did. And that wasn't the right thing to do because I wasn't properly going through counseling. And I've talked about how I was very good at, lying to my counselor, right? Because I wanted to get that stamp on my orders that I was fit for duty and go back to being a warrant officer and working in aviation, and not dealing with my issues and problems, which we all know. And if you watch episodes, led to my suicide attempt. But it was the pain that I was feeling and not wanting to confront that pain is why I was lying to a counselor, right? Because I didn't want to relive those things that were bothering me. And that's hard. When you start to go into counseling, that's hard to do. And one thing that I've done, and I've done this here recently, is I've gotten a life coach. And if you don't know anything about life coaches, Google it, do some research on it, because one thing for me, when I go into counseling or when I go see a licensed clinical social worker or a psychologist, psychiatrist, and I've never seen them before, one thing that's frustrating for me is they want to relive my suicide attempt and what led to that suicide. Well, that was 21 years ago. That is a part of my life, but it's not why I'm here. I'm here for another reason, or I'm here because I'm having anxiety, or I'm here because, my brain suffered trauma and I'm trying to make things better and I'm rewiring my nervous system and it's all wackadoodle and doesn't know what to do. I need to know how to better handle that. And so what I've been able to do is find a good life coach, and they've been able to, help me with that path and dealing with anxiety and things when your brain's going wackadoodle, because, your normal resting heart's 59, but oh my God, one day it's 63 and you're having a heart attack and all these problems. And when the reality is, you're just finding nothing going on. But we all know how the brain and the mind can take you down a rabbit hole very quickly and leave you in that rabbit hole. And you have to learn how to, get out of that rabbit hole. And one thing that she taught me, and it was really weird, and you can Google this or look into it, but it's called hand meditation. I had never done this before. So basically what you do is you sit down and you place your hands. I had them on my knees, and she said for me to close my eyes and concentrate on my hands till they start tingling. I've never felt this sensation before. Well, I felt my hands tingling, but that's because of my injury in my back. And so I sat there and did that. And it took me about 2 minutes, and it was really weird how I felt that sensation in my hands of tingling. And what they do is they call that grounding. And what that does is, because, we know the earth and the body, everybody has electricity, is that kind of helps ground things. And that was really had a calming effect on me. And I was really quite surprised by that. But, when you're having issues and problems in your life, right, and mental pain that I've been talking about, there's something that goes along with that, and that's the shame. And the shame of having a mental illness can be just as debilitating as the mental pain or the problem that you're having. Why is that, or how is that? And I'm talking only as Cliff Bauman, from his heart, because I felt that shame when I was going through the issues and problems I had. And the shame actually kept me from asking for help. Right. And I'm sure anybody who's been down that path will understand what I'm talking about. And the shame can come from cultural shame, right? It can come from the fact that, culturally in your family and your family's belief systems, they don't believe in mental health issues or depression or anxiety or things like that. Could be shame of your friends knowing that you're having these issues or problems, or your significant other, or whoever. And that shame can really stop you from getting the help that you need, and also goes along with being embarrassed, right? I think shame and embarrassment with what I'm talking about kind of go hand in hand. So it's very important that I had to learn not to be shame feel shame because of my suicide attempt, or feel shame because I was feeling the way I was feeling, and others who were with me that day weren't feeling the same way. And why was I? Because was I less? Did I feel so? That shame really started to consume me. And I think for others out there, and you can throw it down in comments if you want, or say whether or not you think this is true or not. But sometimes I think shame, guilt, embarrassment sometimes keep people from asking for help, going to see a therapist, going to see a psychologist, or somebody, or asking a friend for help, because you don't want them to see or feel less of you as a person because you feel shame because of what you're going through. I think that to me, I think is something that we don't talk about enough. I mean, we talk about mental health and we talk about suicide and asking for help and all those things. What we don't talk about is, why doesn't somebody ask for help, right? Why don't they pick up the phone and make that phone call when they're in that situation, or when they're not in a good frame of mind, when they're sitting in that dark room, or they're alone by themselves in their car, or just wherever they're at having that breakdown? What's the reason why they're not calling somebody, or why is the reason why they're not reaching out? And I honestly believe that some of those reasons are shame and embarrassment, because they feel like, I shouldn't have this, or I shouldn't feel this way, or, I'm less of a person, or I'm less of somebody because I'm feeling this way and I don't understand why I'm feeling this way. And I shouldn't be doing this. And so I can't call somebody and ask somebody for help, because to me it's shameful that I'm even in this situation, or in this spot, or in this position. And I think for me that was a lot of my issues, is being in the military, being a warrant officer, having the positions that I have, and I ran a contracting officer and all those things. I think I had a lot of shame, and I think I didn't realize that, even after my suicide attempt. I really didn't feel. I don't think I understood the shame that went along with me not asking for help. And for me, it was easier, just to give up, which is wrong. Yeah, I was totally wrong on that, and I'm lucky to have survived and go on to do what I do, and be sitting here tonight and talking with you about this, because it's not. I know, and if you guys watch me right now, I fidget around, and I tell you why I fidget around. It's because I'm comfortable. And these things sometimes I talk about affects me mentally. And it's not always easy, but I think it's important. And I think that we all need to be more open about things that bother us, and put things on the table and talk about it. And that's why I do what I do and talk about this stuff. And I think for me, and I think for a lot of military members, and veterans, that I think shame plays a bigger role than we think it does in asking for help or not asking for help. And I would love for people to put in comments on what their thoughts are about that, and how they feel and think about, if that actually affects them going and asking for help. Is shame or embarrassment one of the reasons why you don't? I know for me, it was one of the reasons why I didn't. And that's why I wanted to talk about it tonight, because, as I was talking about mental pain and PTSD and suicide, and how mental pain can drive us to do things we normally wouldn't do, I think shame does the same thing. I think shame and embarrassment of feeling what you're going through can be just as much of a driver as the trauma that you went through. And sorry. I just think it's important, as I go and do these podcasts and talk about things, that I talk about all the outliner stuff. It's easy to talk about PTSD. It's easy. It's not easy, but I mean, it's what are the root causes of different things, and there's always different things that feed in to that, or that leads up into somebody attempting suicide or thinking about suicide or whatever. There's always things that lead into that. And really, what I would love to, if you guys are watching the show, can comment, or if you want to comment, great. But what do you think would be the one underlining problem that would keep you from asking for help? If you're in that bad situation, think about this and put it in comments, because you could help somebody. And I'm talking about one of the reasons why I didn't ask for help that night when I was in my brother's house. I didn't ask for help or call somebody, before I took all those pills. Was the shame of it. It's the shame of not trying to be able to fix it myself. It's the shame of letting down, my family members, or the shame of, dealing with my coworkers in the military and all that, and having people look at me different or treat me different, or, you just feel it when you walk in the room. I posted that posting the meme about the elephant going to see the psychiatrist. And he's like, when I'm in the middle of a room, it seems like I'm still not unseen. It's like the big elephant in the room. And that's what he was talking about. And I think for a lot of us, that was big for me. And that was my elephant in the room. That's what kept me from picking up the phone and calling. And I talk about that, and I'm very open and honest about it. And even though it's not easy to talk about, I think it's important. And so, as you're going through life, and, today it's cloudy and raining here. Yesterday it was sunny and 61. And I spent all day outside working on my cars, the Mustang and the truck, cleaning it and detailing it. And I detailed the truck fully knowing that it's going to rain, it didn't get dirty again. But to me, it was something to do that was relaxing, just to be outside. But if you're having a rough time, if the bills are piling up, or your job's cutting your hours, or something's not going like you think it should in your life, think about something small you can change, and don't be ashamed of it. Don't be ashamed that, your life's not where you think it should be at this moment, at this second, at this time. Because tomorrow that could change. The next day it could change again. But don't be ashamed of it. We all have struggles throughout our life. We all go through different stages in our life where things are good and things are bad. But if things are going bad for you right now, or not what you think it should be, or if you're in school and your grades aren't what you think they should be, or you had a bad, test, or a bad semester, or maybe you accidentally wrecked your car or something, don't think that you're less of something, or be ashamed of the fact that things just didn't work out that day. It just, shit happens, stuff happens. Sorry. And move on from it. But don't ever be ashamed of, or get shamed of things that happened to you in your past, right? Because it's in your past. And for me, I was ashamed of that for a lot of years. And I think it's important to not feel that way anymore. I don't feel that way, because if I did, I wouldn't be talking about it. And today was not an easy topic for me to talk about, but I think it was an important one. I think it's something that we all should think about, and really maybe talk about. Have that conversation to see, and let your friends and family members know that they don't need to feel that way, that it's okay. We say that all the time, right? It's okay not to be okay. We say that, right? But do we really mean it? I mean, I mean it when I say it, but there's days where I'm not okay. Should I be ashamed of that, or ashamed of that? Nah, it's just life. Days can't always be good, but I was joking with somebody the other day, because I kept calling Monday Sunday, and they were teasing me about it. And I was like, well, I'm retired now, so really I don't care what day it is unless Lloyd has something. It's either the sun's up or the sun's down, so it doesn't really matter. But if you tuned in and listened tonight, I want to thank you. I want to close this out real quick because I have to go get Lloyd from school. But really, what I think I want to people take away from this tonight as I close out is just know that what you're going through or what you're dealing with or what you in your past made you the person that you are today. And that person that you are can be the best person ever if you just let it be. Quit fighting the universe, quit fighting yourself, and just go be the best self that you can be. That was a hard lesson for me to learn. And I would say it, and I am still learning that every day, just to quit fighting things and just let it go. One thing my yoga instructor told me the other day is I went and did sound yoga, and I don't think I've talked about this, but that had a very moving, profound effect on me. And I won't go into great detail. Maybe I'll do a podcast on it. I'm just not ready to talk about that because it really had an effect on me mentally that I was not expecting. But at the beginning of class, I had this white crystal ball, right? They were passing around, and people were holding on to it, whatever that they were doing with it. Whatever personally they felt when they held that ball. When she handed me that ball, I could not get that out of my hand quick enough. I pretty much just tossed it to the lady next to me. And I was talking with my life coach about that. And she said, "Why do you think it is that you didn't want to hold on to it?" And I told her, "I don't know. But I didn't want to hold on to that or reveal whatever that emotion was that I was feeling at that time." And she looked at me, she said, "I know exactly what it was. You was afraid to cry." And she was right. I was afraid to cry in front of all those people because I would have felt ashamed to be crying in front of all those people. That's why I didn't hold on to that ball. That's why I let it go, because I was overwhelmed with emotions that I wasn't ready to deal with at that point in time there in that class. And so since then, I've read more about crystals and things like that, and I can dive into that. Yeah, I wear them on my wrist now, which does help me a lot. Talked with my doctor, my regular doctor, the other day about it, and she was really big into yoga and crystals. It was just kind of funny for a medical doctor to be big into that, but it's refreshing to run across a doctor like that. So yeah, so that was hard. So as you go through and as I close out, just know that don't be ashamed of what you've been through, of what you've gone through, because it's made you the person that you are today. And there's a whole lot of people out there that appreciate who you are today and not who you was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So just know that don't be ashamed about it. Wear it as a badge of honor, badge of courage, because that made you who you are today. I'm a lot mentally stronger now than I was prior to my suicide attempt. And why is that? Well, because I've learned how to deal with problems and issues that I never would have known or even fathomed to deal with, before. And so with that aspect, it's really been, very helpful to me. Hey, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. It's Thursday. You got the weekend coming up. I've been posting a lot of funny memes lately, just because that's just how I'm feeling. I always post memes about something funny, and then sometimes I always post something meaningful that touches me when I read the meme or look at it. I kind of do that. If I don't have that feeling about a meme, I don't post it. I did post a meme about the fingers. I don't know if you guys saw that today. It was quite funny. When middle finger was like, "Well, this is awkward," because the other fingers were talking about, that they're for love and I'm number one and stuff like that. So it's just kind of a funny meme. Uh, but I always felt like the awkward person in my life in a big group of people, and that's kind of what I thought about when I looked at the fingers. Not the fact that it's the middle finger, but I had a different meaning when I read that. But the middle finger thing is kind of funny. But anyway, I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. I hope you enjoyed tonight's show. I hope you will take a moment to think about what I talked about and kind of reflect on that. If you feel free to throw comments in the sections. I usually try to answer them either later tonight or tomorrow. I'll go in and read them and answer you back if you did put comments either on Gruntworks or VTT or on my Facebook page. I want to appreciate everybody for tuning in. I'm sorry for the ones that are going to jump on at 5 and see that I've already had the show, but you can always rewatch it. That's a great thing about nowadays. Please have a safe and nice weekend. Please go out to veteranstrashtalk.com and look at all of our merchandise. Please like and follow all of our shows and subscribe to all of our pages. You can follow me at all of my social media. It's at Clifford Bauman. You can see, if you just bring up Clifford Bauman, you can Google that. All that comes up. Also, my Facebook page is, BTT's Mental Health Warrior Clifford Bauman. All of my social media on Twitter, Instagram and stuff is just Clifford Bauman. It'll come up. You're easily to find. True Social, Rumble, all that. It's out there on everywhere. Or you can go to my website at cliffordbauman.com. And from there, you can have links to my podcast and everything else going on. Plus, you can get up to dates on what's going on when there's news articles or videos that's coming out on me that's being done, because I do quite a bit also outside of VTT. But hey, thanks everybody for joining in. Please remember, quit being a triggered pansy. We're all in this together, and have a great weekend and take care, everybody.